as I said, you guys or you and the team and the meal plans have fucking changed my life in 5 weeks. And
crazy,
so
right? Yeah. So
it is insane.
Yes. So let's get to this. So you are, and that's why I wanted to talk to you, because you are Lyndsey, obviously, first of all. And,
yes.
And so you joined the meal plans like 5 weeks ago, right?
This is the 5th week, which by the way is just phenomenal.
I don't know how we're going to top this week. I'm a little bit nervous.
We're going to Greece. We're going to Greece, evidently.
Yes,
so I can't wait.
All right. So tell me how did you eat before you found us? I'm really curious, because I see you on Facebook and it's so wonderful that you found us and I love having you in the group, but I don't know that much about your background or kind of how you ate before, kind of what your deal is with food. So tell me.
I am a huge binge eater. And I have spent my life on a diet, and I have lost 100 pounds 3 separate times in my life. And my earliest memory is being on, I think it was the grapefruit diet at 11 years old with my mother. And we would get on the scale every day and weigh, and she had horrible eating habits, and it just passed on to me. And like I said, I've gained and lost. I am the #1 yo-yo dieter out there. But what would happen is I would lose a ton of weight, get really healthy, and then, start back eating fast food, start back eating processed crap, even though it was low fat or all natural or supposed to be good for you. And I'm not a dairy person, not with milk, but I love cheese and I loved animal products. And that's just what happened. So in 2014, I got fed up and I was 265.5 pounds. And I said, that's it. And I just went fruits and veggies, but I still had some cheese once in a while, and I had alcohol, and I had eggs for breakfast because I had to have the eggs because it's the only thing that kept me from being too full and binging. So I lost close to 120 pounds. And starting last August, I started back eating again, stopped exercising, and it just crept back on. And so I gained 50 pounds within 6 months. And so I've been a Facebook lurker in your group for a year, 2 years, I don't know how long. And I've been seeing everything. It looked so great, but I had no idea. There's 2 types of people in the Facebook group. It's people who are trying to be healthy and trying to be whole foods and or vegan. And that's what I was doing, trying to be healthy and looking at all the pictures. Then there's this separate part of the Facebook group that is your meal plans.
Yeah.
And I had no clue. So a lot of things happened, and I finally just said, we have to do something. And so I talked my wife into doing the meal plans, and here we are.
Awesome. So a grapefruit diet at 11.
Yes, it was crazy. You eat grapefruit one day, and then the next day you eat tomatoes and potatoes, and then it's ridiculous. Oh, and the cabbage soup diet, and
so many crazy diets out there, right?
I mean, just everything. So I will say, and we can get into more of this later if you want to, but I'm used to everything I can't eat.
Yeah.
And being able I had a really hard time the first 2 weeks being able just to eat and enjoy it so much. And I just knew I was going to gain weight. And I have not. I've lost 14 pounds as of today.
Awesome.
And I'm not even exercising.
Yeah, that's what happens. You don't have to exercise. Exercise is great for lots of things, but losing weight, it's all about the food. And we definitely can get to that. But I just wanted to backtrack because I've heard a lot, like I've talked to a lot of people. I've heard a lot of crazy diets, and it's just crazy and from such a young age that you would be surprised how many people I've talked to whose moms had them on a diet starting at like 10 years old, 11 years old, 12 years old. And that shit is ingrained, man. So it's no wonder that you grew up to be a dieter and try every single new diet out there that came out. I mean, and how unhappy is that? Like what a pain in the ass and tedious and hard is that?
It's horrendous. It is just horrendous. And being able to go on the meal plan and having food when I'm starving to death and I walk in and I'm doing 100 things and it's there.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So, well, right. And so really what the meal plans are all about is it's, essentially based on batch cooking and eating, focusing on the quality of the calories and not the quantity of the calories, right?
I
So,
watched the Drop It Now video
yeah.
last night,
Oh,
the
really?
90 minute, and it is the quality of what I'm eating and not
That's right.
not the amount
Yeah.
or what I can't eat.
It's like that small little switch. It's such an easy small switch, like to grasp, and it's like people are so close to it, like it's so in reach, but it's so foreign to so many people. And if they just knew that one little bit of like, it's not about the quantity, it's about the quality of the calories, because essentially what we're doing is eating for our health and not eating for the scale. And then what ends up happening when we do that is like all of a sudden we get to the perfect weight for our frame in the process of that, and you don't focus on that. So
what's happened for me is just I've tried. My wife and I've tried for a decade to go vegetarian, to go vegan. We're smart. We're educated about all of this. We have read all the books. We've seen all the documentaries. We know what's good for our health. Yeah. But those processed foods and the cheeseburgers and the French fries and the Oreos. I mean, you have cravings for those things, and being on meal plans, the flavors satisfy you so much. I'm obsessed. I could talk for hours about your food.
Yes.
I'm obsessed.
And I should mention that, no, yes, we do not pay you. She pays us, actually.
No, yes, I do. I think actually for all of the advertising I'm doing, I should get royalties.
I know. That's exactly, yeah. So many people are like, I don't, like, I think I've signed up like probably 20 people just talking about it. And I do appreciate that love and you sharing your experiences. Great. And it's so, that's one of the wonderful things that I really want people to get is like, yes, you should enjoy your food. You should enjoy eating. You should it should be a pleasure. It should be a pleasure eating. And what dieting does is it sucks that pleasure right out of it.
Yes.
And it makes you beat yourself up because diets never work. I mean, they might, and then it doesn't, right? And when you stop the diet. So it's like,
and it doesn't taste good. It doesn't taste good. And I have all the cookbooks and I've tried forever and the food just does not, it's boring.
Yeah.
And this is not.
Yeah, that's right. And, I mean, the huge thing about batch cooking, and this is even for people if they don't, because you don't need to get my meal plans to do this. I mean, you could go to my blog or anybody's blog and get recipes and do batch cooking. But the beauty of it is that, you cook in advance so that when you get home, you have this food, because like you were saying, like the junk food or the fast food or the processed food sneaks back in, and that's because you don't have food in your fridge ready to go. That's it. Because when we get hungry, we need to eat. We're not going to be like, oh, well, let me just, spend an hour in my kitchen when I'm hungry on a really healthy meal. It's not going to happen. Like you
and
will
then when
grab
you
takeout.
when you eat what you got already prepared, it is so satisfying.
Yeah.
And I'm a little obsessed with food.
Yeah.
But the flavors are so good and it's so satisfying, and you don't actually really want anything else. You don't want to. I know that people who hear me say this and know me will think I'm insane more than usual, but it's because I don't really want to go eat out anywhere. My food's so delicious.
That's it. And that's exactly what happens, because once you start eating really healthy, good food on a consistent basis, and it's like making your own food in your kitchen empowers you. Like that's really what it does. Like it empowers you so much that, and all of these little things happen because of it that you don't even expect. Right. And so these small shifts happen, and it's like you really realize that, like, I don't want to go out to eat. I don't really enjoy going out to eat. Maybe if it's like, for me, if it's a social thing, it's great, but I don't go out to eat for the food, because I know that nobody can make as good of food, the style that I'm used to eating, as I can. That's it.
We've not gone out in 5 weeks. I mean, and I know of a dinner I have to go to at a favorite restaurant, and I don't want to go. Because I don't want to miss one of the nights of the food.
Yeah, exactly. And also when you go out to eat, like you can't, and for me, like when I go out to eat, I know that, I'm going to be having oil. I'm going to order something vegan, but I'm not going to be picky about it, because I'm just not, fuck it. I'm not going to be one of those like people who are like, I can't, bring me a piece of lettuce and that's it. So, but it just gets to the point where it's like, it's just not worth it. It's not fun, and it doesn't taste good. Like food that you used to like will all of a sudden taste like a really not how you remember it. to be, which is really an interesting thing that happens. And I don't know if you've experienced this, but I know that for me, I went through this period of like, actually, I missed enjoying the food that I used to like. I didn't necessarily miss the food that I used to like, but I missed enjoying it, if that makes sense.
It does. Yeah.
Because
it does.
I would get pleasure, and especially when I quit drinking, you know, I was like a little bit more, I was like, well, you know what, I'm going to let myself like have cookies and just, you know, kind of eat more sugar because I wasn't drinking. So I kind of justified it with that. And honestly, like, it was kind of a crutch for me when I first quit drinking. And I enjoyed that. And it was something that I could look forward to. But then once I was kind of done with that and I went back to, you know, eating really healthy, I didn't miss the cookies, but I missed getting that, like, that sense of pleasure that I got from them, the high from it. And it's like, you really have to then look and like see what other areas of your life are you kind of like missing that. Okay, well, what can I do to get that kind of high if I don't get it from this? And so it's a really interesting thing. And all of this thing about food, and especially people who are used to dieting, like, you find like it's not just about food. It's like such an emotional thing that goes along with changing what you eat.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. And I even have a therapist, and I've been, you know, talking about binge eating and food for a long time, and emotions with childhood trauma and things that have caused a lot of problems. And I've used food as a coping skill and a coping mechanism for very many years. And so part of being on the meal plans and being able to enjoy the food and really enjoy the food and know I'm fueling my body and being able to be obsessed about it, that it's not a bad thing, is wonderful.
Right. Yeah. So like, I guess that's really interesting, because being, having a past with binge eating and having these kind of emotional things around food, like, what has it done for you, I guess, emotionally? Like, because you're right. I mean, you eat because you want to eat, but you also eat because it's healthy. So it's like, it's this whole thing of like, okay, well, I can eat this whole plate of food and it's going to be okay. Like, has that like opened anything up to you, or have you felt any changes like with your old patterns with your relationship with food since you started?
Yes. Specifically, and I don't even know really how to explain it. I'm trying not to cry, but
it's okay if you do.
when you use food as a crutch or trying to push down the pain that you don't want to feel. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's all right.
No, it is not.
Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. We're human. You know what? It's all right. Yeah, feel it, girl. Feel it.
Being able to, you know, in the middle of the day, think of it, or have a craving, or think, oh man, I'm just going to run by McDonald's because I really need that food. And then thinking, oh, but you know what? It won't taste as good as what I've got in my refrigerator. Yeah. And being able to separate myself from the emotion, which then turns into action, which is not good. Yeah. Being able to separate the emotion from the bad emotions from the food, and being able to, I don't know if I'm placing emotion on the good food or not, but other than just knowing that, ooh, that's not going to taste as good as what I've got in my fridge. And that's a huge deal for me. I was always on the lookout for that taste. I needed that taste to get the high, to make me feel better. And I could never find the taste. Every morning I would wake up and think, okay, what is it today that I want? What is it food-wise that I want, that I really want, that would satisfy the cravings, that would make it all okay, that would make life okay? And I have a great life. There's nothing wrong with my life. I have a wonderful life. Yeah. But just to keep the feelings at bay. And I've realized that there is not a taste that I can go out and find to make those feelings and emotions better. Yeah. It's not a food. It's not a taste.
That's huge. What a revelation. It just gave me like chills, because
it's been a lifelong struggle. Yeah. And I know it's only 5 weeks on this, and I know, and you know, I'm not saying it's the cure all of everything, but for me personally, it's just been amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's given you a whole new perspective, and it's allowed yourself to enjoy food without you beating yourself up about it.
Yes.
And I think that that's a really important thing because, and it's okay to enjoy food. I mean, we should enjoy food, but the difference is there's a difference between enjoying food and relying on food for your joy.
Yes.
Because we'll never be joyful because of food, because joy happens internally.
Yes.
And pleasure happens externally. It's pleasure.
And I know that.
Yeah.
Intellectually,
right.
I know this, but to put it into action
and to feel it,
whole different thing.
And to experience it. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that once we, focus on food as fueling our body and nutrients, all of a sudden our body is rushed with all these nutrients that it was missing before, and that calms things down, because then all of a sudden the body is fed and nourished, and it's not like the physical body isn't in search of nutrients, because that's what happens a lot of times. Like, we'll just keep being hungry because our body is like, I need this vitamin, I need this phytochemical, I need this, and it will actually like kick in the hunger mechanism, the hormones that create hunger, to feed, to get food, so that in hopes it'll get nourished. So it's like all of a sudden when you give the body what it needs, it's like there's kind of this peace that comes with that.
It's been such a relief. It's been such a burden lifted off my shoulders just to eat and just to fuel my body and just to be happy about it.
Yeah.
Oh, and I don't have this guilt of food waste, trying to get healthy and going to the grocery store and buying all this food and coming home and making food that's just going to sit in the refrigerator, because it was good, but it wasn't great. And there's no more food waste. I'm using every appliance in my kitchen,
nice.
all of my little tools. Lori's bought me some new things I'm using. I don't feel like I have all this stuff crowding my cabinets and the drawers that I'm not using. And then there's the relief of, we've tried to go vegan and vegetarian for the longest time for every reason you can imagine: ethical, moral, political, environmental, health, everything. Yeah. We've tried and tried and tried. We've just not been able to, or we would do it and then we would just give it up.
Fizzle.
And so there's such a, I'm gonna cry. There's such relief. I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry. Don't be sorry. No.
Oh my gosh. It just, there's just such a relief in knowing you're doing the right thing for yourself and for the, for the planet and the world.
Yeah. Yeah. It's such a powerful thing. And it's like the one thing that helps so many things. It's like this one thing helps, like, and I always believe what's good for our body is good for the planet, because I'm a big believer in like the macro and the micro, and how we're all so connected and intertwined and basically all the same stuff. And so what's good for our body has to be good for the planet and the animals and everything. So it's like, it's such a powerful thing. And when we don't eat like this, it's easy to put that other stuff in the back of your mind and just not think about it, because it's hard to think about it. And you want to do the right thing. You want to do good things. But if you're not, it's like, I'll just file it back here and just not think about it. But then when all of a sudden you're doing it, you're like, I can feel good about this and this and this and this. And it's really... And that brings joy, knowing you're doing something good for your body, the planet, animals, everything. That is like way joy invoking. So you nailed it.
It is just spectacular. I work in healthcare, so I see things, and I know that it would help with diet changes. Yeah. And Lori is a wildlife biologist, and we both have huge concerns about our planet, and we both love animals, and so. Yeah, so it's just been a relief and a burden, and we've done it.
Yeah. So let's talk a minute about pooping.
I know. I said she's going to want to talk about my posts, about my pooping posts.
I just want to hit on your IBS because you have, and I can edit this out if you don't want it in here.
No, just might as well lay it all out there.
Just balls out. I can tell you something embarrassing about me if you want.
No, just do it. At this point, I just don't even care. I'm so happy and I'm so thrilled. I don't even care what anybody thinks.
Yeah, well, I think, and the reason I bring it up is because there's a lot of people who have IBS, and I want to touch on this just briefly because I think that it'll give a lot of people a lot of hope and just some encouragement as well. So, can you talk a little bit about your digestive stuff since you've started this process, or since you started the meal plans, I guess?
Yes. Let me start out by saying my disclaimer that I believe in medicine, I believe in doctors, I believe in healthcare. I'm not saying that eating your meal plans and whole food plant-based is going to cure everything and all of that kind of stuff. So that's my disclaimer.
Yeah, and I completely agree with all that. So, okay. Yes.
However, for me, I am shocked at what this way of eating has done for me. I have been struggling with irritable bowel syndrome, constipation, and then diarrhea because of all of the medications for, since college, for, a very, very long time. In the last decade, it has gotten a lot worse. And the constipation, I say, in the South, we call it being stove up. I've been stove up for 40 plus years. And when I did go, it was maybe once a week, and it was very, I don't know how much detail you want, but
I'll just throw it all out there.
It was,
people are used to it.
It was very hard to go.
Yeah.
And I stayed in the bathroom for an hour, and it was just miserable. And then, so I would get so bloated, and after a meal, I would look 9 months pregnant, at least. I mean, literally, I took a picture of myself one day to take it into my GI doctor to show them, and after a meal, and I looked 9 months pregnant. They passed the picture around the office on my phone so they could, I know, so everybody, because they were just, couldn't believe I looked that bad. But, so it was really, really bad, and it was hard to go. And when I went, it was just a little bit, and it was a struggle. And then I would take the medication, over-the-counter medications or prescription medications. And then I would be in the bathroom all day with the opposite.
Yeah.
And it was just miserable. And they would tell me, well, eat more fiber, take Metamucil. So I tried. Well, that just made me worse. The broccoli and the lentils and everything, that made me worse. But I was on a whole bunch of other dairy and crap and meat, and it wasn't working. But I didn't realize that at the time. But in October 2015, I was on a medication, and I'm sure it's a good medication for some people, but I was put on the medication Lyndsey, which is a new IBS medication for constipation, and it, helped me go regularly for about a month. And I went back to the doctor for a checkup, and she said, let's increase it a little bit. And so we did. Well, it caused urinary retention. This is a side effect of that medication. It caused urinary retention. I couldn't pee and wound up in the emergency room, and they admitted me for acute renal failure.
Oh my God.
And there's nothing wrong with my kidneys. What had happened is that because I couldn't pee, the kidney and my bladder was so full, my kidneys had stopped filtering. And so the kidneys were actually not in failure. They were working because they were slowing down to compensate. So,
right.
But because I think the filtration rate's supposed to be 110, 111, and mine was down to 7. And
oh my gosh.
Yeah, so if it had kept on, I would have gone into renal failure, and I was completely nothing wrong with my kidneys. I mean, completely fine. Anyway, so it was a side effect of the medication. So I of course went off of that, but the problems continued, and the reason I changed to your meal plans basically was because I wanted some weight loss. I was tired of being perimenopausal and not losing any weight no matter how hard I was trying. And the cure of my IBS has been the best side effect, if you want to call it that, than anything. I am so, details. I am so regular. It's clockwork. It's clockwork. Lori says, oh, there it is. Clockwork. Here we go. She's going to kill me if she ever sees this.
Yeah, but it's clean food, dirty girl. She knows how we roll, right? I mean,
Oh my word, yes. And okay, a few more details and
Mhm.
I will shut up. But she's barred any shit discussion, so I am excited to talk about it. She's, like I said, a wildlife biologist. So when we go hiking, we have to look at every little
Yeah.
animal shit, and she wants to tell me whose shit it is and what they digested and all of this.
Well,
But
this is
she won't talk
payback.
about my
This is
shit.
payback time for her then.
That's what I told her. I said, almost 12 years of hearing about animal poop. You're going to listen about mine. So,
Nothing that brings
but
couples together.
I know, nothing more romantic than
Yes.
shit talk.
Yes.
So, but it's a full bowl. This is gross. Full bowl of shit every morning, like clockwork. And it's easy. And I'm in there 2 or 3 minutes.
Yep.
And it's done and it's great. And then sometimes there's a bonus of maybe another time or two during the day.
Yep.
But I will say the first 2 weeks of the meal plans, I thought I would shit myself to death.
Yeah.
I thought I would die. I didn't have any bloating like I've seen complaints and some comments on the Facebook Facebook site. I didn't have that. I was cleaned out.
Yeah.
I mean, just
like hello fiber.
I'm like, holy
shit, literally. Yeah, exactly.
And so I just stuck with it because I'd been lurking for so long in the group. I knew that this was common, and Lori's guts were all messed up too, and even though she doesn't have any problems, and she's gonna kill me if she ever sees this. But
don't let her watch this. Be like, oh,
my
just
God.
not.
Oh my gosh. So I don't know what I'm saying. It's just great. I'm shitting regularly.
And you're on you're not on any more medication for it.
That's what I was going to say. So I threw out the prescription medication. Well, I Googled it first to make sure that I could just go off of it, obviously without hurting myself.
Yeah.
And it's a medication that makes things happen and then goes away. The half-life is very short. It's not something like maybe a blood pressure medicine or something that you need to go to your doctor to check about. Mm-hmm. So I just stopped all of it. I threw away all the over-the-counter things, all of the fleets, the suppositories, the Miralax, the milk of magnesia, all of that stuff. I just threw it all away, and here I am.
Yeah. Well, that is, I mean, honestly, that in itself makes such a difference in how you feel. Because when we don't shit regularly, it is irritating and agitating, and we get snipper. There's a reason why, that saying is you're just being so poopy. Because when we don't poop regular, it sucks, and people don't realize how it affects our mood and headaches and all of these other things that stems from it. And this is so, I see it all the time. When people switch this way of eating, they're like, holy shit, I'm shitting and it's brilliant and it takes less than a couple of minutes and I'm going on a regular basis. And it's one of those brilliant things that your body needs that fiber. It needs all of this. And it makes you happy. And it makes you happy. And it also, it balances out your gut, the bacteria in your gut. And that, just having a healthy gut improves your mood. So it's that one thing alone, you could call it a side effect, and I think that's a great way to describe it. It's just one of the many side effects. But I'm so glad that you have gotten relief from this, and you see now that it's possible. I didn't have a problem. It was just what I was eating. It wasn't me.
It's totally what I was eating. And like I said, I have been struggling with this for years and years and years and years. Since I was a kid, I've been struggling with this. And just changing what I was eating and not just going, just trying to eat healthy and not just trying to get more fiber and not just going whole foods, plant-based from recipes that I'm trying to find, but just going balls to the wall, all in.
Yeah.
And
just letting me take over and be like, here, do this, eat this, you're going to be okay.
That's what I wanted to say. It was brilliant. It's been brilliant. It's just, exactly what you're talking about. And I've just trusted you and I've trusted the meal plans, and I cannot, like I said earlier, I'm a walking, talking human advertisement for the meal plans and the website.
And you're even wearing orange today, which is our color. So
yes, that's true. That wasn't planned, but yes, that's true.
Yes. Well, I'm just, I'm so happy that you found us and that you decided to just take the plunge and try the meal plans, because I think for a lot of people, you just can't imagine how kind of life-changing just the simple act of batch cooking is in itself. Like how awesome just that concept is, for having food in your fridge ready to go when you get hungry. Like
it's not just that, it's that your leftovers are amazing.
Yeah.
And that there's enough with some excuse me, some fruit thrown in, and maybe something for breakfast, some oatmeal for breakfast, but there's enough food to just eat whenever you're hungry from the batch cooking. And at first I thought, oh my God, this is terrible. I'm dead. I can't do this. But I streamlined it, and then I won't lie, I'm still tired. It's a chunk of time, and I am tired.
Yeah.
But if I add up all the time during the week I was trying to cook, or going out to eat, or all of the money that we were putting into food and trying to fill our belly,
and medication too.
And medication, and the repetition of stuff that we were so sick of eating, and the chunk of time it takes me on a Sunday is amazing.
Yeah, it's worth it. And I think, for a lot of people, they're just not used to spending time in their kitchen, because as a society, we've gotten away from our kitchen. And it's like we need to come back in our kitchen and take responsibility for our health. And that's exactly what we're doing when we spend time in the kitchen. And it's like, I know that it's tiring. It can be a pain in the butt. Sometimes it's the last thing you want to do on your day off. But then when you go through the week and you have this food, you're like, okay, I'm not going to complain about it. Like, it's worth it. And I see it all the time. It's like people hate me on Sunday and then they love me throughout the week.
Lori says to me, we were eating one night, and I've been cooking for almost 12 years for us now, and she said, you finally learned to cook. And I said, what the fuck?
Tell me how you really feel.
I'm like, wait a minute here. So yes, it's been actually a lot of fun.
That's awesome. As it should be. Like eating and cooking and food and grocery shopping. I mean, it should be fun. There should be pleasure in that. And what a gift to find pleasure and to find fun in eating, because we do it a lot. We have to do it a lot. Yes. It's one of the things we do most in our whole life is eat. So if that's not pleasurable and fun and life supporting, then people are doing it wrong. And there's a lot of people who just unfortunately don't know. That's the main thing, is that people don't realize how powerful this is. And that's, why I do what I do. So I thank you for just putting your trust in me and for doing this for yourself, because the reality is, I'm here to help do the process. But if you don't do the work, if you don't get those meal plans and print them out and go to the store and do your cooking, I could never help you. And so you really have to congratulate yourself and give yourself a big pat on the back and a big, booty bump, because you do this. You've done this. And I'm so happy that you've gotten such amazing results and are happy about food again. It's an amazing story, and I'm so happy that I got to talk to you.
I'm so proud of us. I'm just so proud of us. We have just gone all in, and we are having the best time, and it is so much fun. And I get to obsess about flavors and tastes and food and what I'm going to eat.
Yeah.
And yes, and all of that, and the way things look and presenting it on the plate, which I love to do. And it's okay. I can eat it, and it's fine, and it's good.
In fact, it's helping you. In fact, it's like healed your gut. Like, it's not only like, okay, it's like, this is amazing. So
I will say really quick, I know that this is a lot of different topics, but really quick, Lori has GERD and reflux and has been on medications. And one of the reasons she agreed to this is because her doctor told her that if she didn't lose, we both have 30, 40 pounds. Well, she has just about 30 pounds to lose. Her next step was to lose weight. If not, they were going to have to do surgery and stretch her esophagus. Mm-hmm. Well, her reflux is just, to the point where she's made an appointment to talk to her doctor about getting off her medications.
Wow.
Because there's no heartburn, there's no reflux, there's no heartburn, there's no that postnasal drip. She doesn't wake up in the middle of the night coughing all the time. Yep. So it's cured her.
Yeah, I mean, and it's, the body wants to work. The body is designed to work, and there's,
Yes.
there's things that people will have that diet can't touch, of course. But
Yes.
if you're, if you have a properly functioning body, it's designed to work. And so, when you start eating the right fuel, it really does have a chance then to like bring itself back into balance and start working again. And it's just so amazing when people experience that firsthand.
Yes, it
because
is.
it's so powerful. It's so
Yes,
powerful.
it is.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for talking with me and for taking time out to do this, even though you were scared and nervous. See, it wasn't that bad, right?
No, it wasn't that bad. I can't hear myself talking, so that's why it's not that bad.
You know what? I hate seeing myself on camera. My voice, to hear it, it makes me cringe. Like I am a super introvert, so like even me doing these, I've had to get out of my comfort zone with it. But it's important to get this message out because your story and what you've gone through will help people, and it will have an effect. So thank you for doing it. All I have
to say is for people to just try it. Just try it, and not just for a week, not just for 2 weeks. Give it some time and try it because it works.
Yeah, and it's interesting. We were like playing around with making the meal plans like a minimum of 2 months because people will even cancel. Like if there's a week and they're like, well, I don't like this type of food without even trying it. They're like, I just am going to cancel. I'm like, no, you just have to do it. Just, give it a shot. And I think that people in general, I think, patience is a good thing. And whatever, people are going to do what they're going to do. But I'm like, maybe we should make it a 2-month minimum for them to really like see it out, especially people that are brand new to eating this way. There's a transition period of, your taste buds change and your gut changes and you will probably be farting more and going to the bathroom more. And there's some things that are just like not so pretty in the beginning, but sometimes you have to feel, and like the detox symptoms for a lot of people is a big thing, and they're coming from a toxic diet. And did you experience them when you went through this initially?
Oh, yes, we both did. Just fatigue and just no energy and tired and headaches and grumpy and just but then we'd eat and we'd feel great.
Yeah, it's like a plant that's really like needs water. You give it water, you put it in the sun, the plant kind of like comes to life. It's that same thing.
Like, it is. Yeah. And so yes, we both had detox bad.
Yeah.
But we've been 40 years of eating shit. I mean, it's going to take us a while. And when you have, what I will say to people who are trying to change their way of eating, and the reason why you need patience is you've got to reframe the way things are supposed to taste. Yeah. Because, the queso and that's a bad example because that tasted
really like it tasted like traditional dairy queso.
Yeah, it did. It tasted like the spinach artichoke dip. It was incredible. But
maybe like the blue cheese. That might be a good example.
You have to reframe the way things are supposed to taste. The way we're eating now is how it's supposed to taste. Yeah. It's not supposed to taste full of sugar and oil
chemicals and
chemicals and crap. You're supposed to taste all these different flavors.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
So it's just great.
Yeah, and it's just changing and that's one thing, like people's taste buds kind of come alive and they think, well, I've never had like a dressing like the cashew ranch. People will be like, well, am I doing it right? It's just kind of strange. It's like, yeah, it's made with real ingredients. Like exactly, that's how it's supposed to taste. It's not supposed to taste like this with something with this concoction that's come out of a science lab. It's like crazy. But that's the thing, like the detox thing is interesting. And I think for a lot of people, like they experience that and they think, well, this is terrible. How am I going to, eat better and then feel like shit? But unfortunately, it's just one of those things where sometimes you have to feel worse before you feel better. And it does take a week or sometimes 2 weeks, depending on how toxic you've been eating, to kind of all of a sudden like get that energy that everybody talks about and that glow and that like, whew, okay, I feel it. You kind of have to go over that. So good for you for staying on board with it. And I will say, like, you're just glowing. Your skin is amazing, and you're just like beaming. Really. I mean,
I'm just happy.
I can tell.
And anybody that says anything, any negative comments, it's like, okay, whatever. I don't care
Who gives
because
a shit, right?
I'm feeling so great, and Lori and I are both having such a good time, and we feel so good about, our choices, and
as you should,
I
because
don't care.
at the end of the day, this is your life, and so anybody else who has anything to say needs to get with their life. And people can be shitty, but who gives a shit? Like, I've gotten to the point where I'm like, I could, like, literally, I give zero fucks what people think, because it's, this is my life. I'm happy. This is what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. And to anybody else, it's nice that you have something to say, but, you're wasting your time, because I don't care. And so many times people who say stuff are the people who need to make changes in their own life. And you're just like this trigger for them that's reminding them that they could do better. And so it's like this whole reflection. So, you got to take all that with a grain of salt. So, well, good.
I just don't care. I'm having a ball.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I can tell. And thank you again. I'm really, really happy for you and Lori. And keep posting your stuff in the private Facebook group, because I love seeing your posts. You're so energetic and optimistic, and people love it. So, and people are going to love this video. Just you wait. They're going to love it. I already know.
Oh my gosh. I just talking about shit.
Yes. I mean, who would have thunk it, right? All right.
I appreciate you. Thank you for everything that you've done. I know this is your life's work, and you've chosen to do this, and blah, 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 all that stuff. But it's important. What you're doing is important. And if I hadn't had a non-judgmental place to go and to, lurk for a while before I decided to dive in, it never would have happened. So the way that you run things, the way that you do things, has not just healed me with IBS and with things like that. It's healed some emotions and some things that 2 decades of therapy hasn't helped. So thank you so much.
Oh, so powerful. And now you're going to have me crying. So,
no.
Well, I'm glad that you found us, and I'm so happy that you're in the community, and just that we have this amazing, amazing place to go. And thanks for being part of it. And so keep me posted, and I will send you this video when we edit it, and have an awesome, awesome night. Thanks again. You're just a beautiful human.
Thank you, Molly. So are you.
Oh, thank you. All right. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.